What's up, guys? Isaac Hemfinger back at it again with another video for y'all. Today I'm going to be talking about the Gambler Stinger. It is a sweet little punching rig. You can flip it up under docks, flip it into brush piles, flip it pretty much wherever you need to be, and it just gives a lot of presentation, a lot of action, a lot of vibration under the water, and then it's got that Gambler scent in it, and that'll really help those bass key in on where your lure is, and they'll be like, what the heck is in my area? I'm going to go check it out. Bass don't have hands. They're going to check it out with that big mouth of theirs. Bam. Set that hook. You got them in the boat. So this is what the Gambler Stinger looks like. It's got these two big paddles right here, and then three appendages, or four technically, but it's got three small appendages off the body here, and then it's got a little bit bigger appendage with a secondary paddle off of the side of it, and that's on each side, and then it's got ribs down each side and along the back, but where I've got the hook, you'll notice, is smooth, and that'll help your hook stay on the bait better, and it'll help your bait not tear up as quickly as some lure companies that make their punching baits and flipping baits and whatnot, their beaver style baits with the ribs all the way around. These are smooth, so they're stronger. Now, as you probably noticed just a second ago, I've got this rigged up, Weightless Texas. That's one of my favorite ways to throw it. Let it sink down, and these paddles on the front, you got to make sure you can see. Maybe they've got that tag in between. You want to pop that apart, and that'll give them the most action. If you want less action, leave that together. But I like to pop it apart. It gives you the most action. This color is green pumpkin, black and blue. It's green pumpkin on this side. Flip it over. Black with a blue flake on the other side. Really, really versatile bait. Really, really versatile color. Depending on how you rig it, you'll either have that green pumpkin up in the water column or the green pumpkin down in the water column, and that can affect your bite. So you just figure out what the bass want, and that's how you need to do it. Now, one thing that I really, really like with this bait, or the way I like to rig it, is I'll rig it Weightless Texas, or I'll take a 3-ounce weight, tungsten, and green pumpkin, because I only throw green pumpkin tungsten weights. If they need to be black, I'll just paint them black. But but most of the time, I'm throwing green pumpkin colored soft plastics. So you tie your weight on, your line to your hook, drop that weight, and there you go. You are golden with a weighted Texas rig. But one of the coolest things that I have found lately, let me get a piece of line here and I'll show you guys how it works. I just got some braid here, 50 pound. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it kind of backwards so you guys can get a better idea of what I'm doing here. But I'm just going to tie my knot like you would normal. But I'm going to do it a little bit backwards so I don't have to finagle as much with the weight and stuff. I'm going to tie the knot and then drop the weight on from the other side. If it's attached to your pole, it's not that big of a deal. But whenever you're messing with it the way that I am, just for presentation, it can be a hassle. So that's what I'm going to do. Cut that. Okay, so I've got it hanging there just like normal. And like I was saying, if you want to throw just a regular weighted Texas rig, then you just take that weight. This one's all clogged up. The heck? I'll grab a different weight here. Bear with me, guys, for one moment. Okay. So, there's your weighted Texas. I don't do snell knots. I don't like snell knots. So there's your weighted Texas. But if you want to dress it up a little bit more, you can throw on a Gambler KO punch skirt. Just keep your regular Texas hooked. Drop that KO punch skirt on there. Drop your weight back on. And boom. It's like you're throwing a jig. But at the same time, you're 100% weedless because you rigged it weedless Texas. And you can rock it that way. Whole lot of action, whole lot of movement. Going to do a bunch of flaring in the water with that KO punch skirt, and it's going to work tremendously. This is a green pumpkin punch skirt, but they do come in other colors if you prefer a different color. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, if you want to rig it a little bit different, say you want that skirt and you want that big action, but the fish aren't that deep. Say your fish are in 5, 6, maybe less foot of water. Gambler came out, they call them their hollow points. And these things are cool, guys. You definitely need to get a pack or 10 of these in your boat because they are cool. They're little clear plastic. They're shaped like a bullet weight. They've got a spring keeper right here, hollow plastic tube, and the way that they work and what they do for you is they give you the action of having your regular bullet weight on there, but at the same time they don't add any weight. I'm not going to thread it because I don't feel like it. But you have that bullet weight presentation. You're not going to snag up on stuff because it gives you that slick taper from your line to that bullet weight, but they're not adding any weight because they're just that plastic. So that's a different presentation you can do if you don't need that whole bunch of weight. If you just want something to be real slick, bring it through that thin cover, that thin grass, but you still want to throw that jig, try these hollow points. They are sweet. They are a great idea, and I love them. Now, another way that you could rig it, and I've already got it rigged up here to show you guys, but if you have any questions on how to thread it or whatever like that, then there's lots of videos, or just comment and let me know, and I'll set one out. But I've just got right here, it's just a flipping, pitching, punching hook. This is one that happens to be a Gambler KO, but they've got this, as you can see, they've got this keeper. It's got a barb there, and then it's a hollow, flexible tube that turns into a barb on the back right there. And that'll keep your baits on a whole lot better than just throwing, your regular extra wide gap or something like that. This one's a 3/0. For these bigger baits, I like a 3/0. In the flipping hooks. But if you're going to throw like the Texas rig or the other rigs that I showed you, then you can throw a 4/0 or a 5/0, depending on what your personal preference is. Everybody has different preferences, but that's how you rig that up on that hook. And those bass, a lot of people worry that plastic's covering up that hook. Well, you just get it in there, and I like to make sure that the tip is just barely poking out, just enough to graze you, but not enough for it to hook up on anything. See, you guys probably can't even see that tip. You might be able to. It's right there. And don't worry about it. When that bass engulfs that, you need to set that hook this way, and what that's going to do, I'm going to try not to hook myself, is it's going to bring that hook all the way through, just like that, and go into that bass, right in the roof of the mouth. That's where you want to be. Hammer them, bring them into the boat, and you will be happy. So that is a few different ways to rig the Gambler Stinger. Weighted, not weighted, KO punch skirt. Another thing that I like to do with it, let me see which one I want to do it with here. And this is something that you probably won't see on other channels, but you might, who knows. Take that stinger, and you've got the 2 big appendages, the 2 medium appendages, and then these 3 small ones. Follow in between the last 2, so you have 2 flappers like that. Take your scissors. Let me get mine out so I can show you real quick. And this is if you need that jig, if you really like throwing jigs. I like to do it this way. Gives you a slightly smaller presentation. In between those 2, cut that sucker right off. So you got it cut into 2 pieces like that. Okay, so you got whole bunches of movement, whole bunches of appendages flopping around. You got that smell, doing crazy stuff in the water. Fish are going to love it. You're going to love it. Everybody's going to be happy. And then find yourself a jig. If you don't want to use the KO punch skirt, if you don't have the KO punch skirt, this is a way to get by until you get one, because guys, those punch skirts are sweet. If you need to change them out real quick, you pop off your soft plastic, pull it through, boom, you've got it. But what I like to do is I like to cut that in half, and I'll usually toothpick it, but I don't have any toothpicks on me at the moment. But that way you can rig it up or down, however you like to do it. Shoop. Just like that. And then you got a chunk style for that smaller, little bit more finesse presentation, but you still have those big flappers creating a lot of action, a lot of movement. You don't have to cut them down. You can throw a whole stinger on there if you want to. You don't have to hook it through the middle like a regular chunk, but you can. That's the way I prefer to do it, and then just peg it with a toothpick. You can thread it on there a little ways, come out right in between those 2 paddles, and it will stay on there a little bit better. You're going to have a little bit less action. Everybody knows how the chunks work. Everybody knows that the chunks work well. But you can thread it on there just like I did, and it gives it a real light finesse presentation. I mean, they're just barely tickling out of there. But whenever they're in the water, you got to remember, guys, your jig's going to be different. So you're going to have that peek through, and then when it rests, everything's going to be floating up like that. So you're going to have a lot of movement, a lot of action, but that's even more of a finesse tactic if those bass aren't wanting to hit something giant and crazy and everything. So that's a few different ways to rig, a few different options for the Gambler Stinger. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any videos you want me to make on any other Gambler products or anything else, just let me know in the comments, and I will be glad to share my rigging tactics and advice with you. Thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your day.